In a world where the unknown whispers in the dark, where shadows move and questions remain unanswered, tonight we step beyond the veil. Welcome to Journey through the EGH Talk Show, where the paranormal meets the unexplained and the truth is never far away. From ghostly encounters to UFO sightings to the mysteries that keep us awake at night. You're not just watching, you're part of the investigation. So dim the lights, open your mind, and prepare to question everything you thought you knew. This is your journey into the unknown.
Good evening, everybody. I do apologise. I was a little bit slow on the buttons there, but I am back. I'm running around like a blue-ass fly to get the show. Because I don't quite know if we are live on YouTube, but I'm hoping that we are, because we are getting a lot of people come in. Hello, Heidi is already in the chat.
Hi, Heidi.
Welcome, everybody, to Journey Through the EGH Talk Show, live and exclusive on all our social media platforms, wherever you are watching. It is Thursday, the 11th of July.
July?
June, evening, everybody. I don't even know where I am. We've got loads of people in the chat already for us. Welcome, everybody, to the show. Please let me know if you are watching us and where you are watching from. If you are watching on TikTok land, I can only apologise just for a minute because I haven't uploaded the system. So I can't see it. I don't know how to log on to my phone. Which is stupid, but we are live. I know we're live. I'm going to just trust the process and say we are live, and then go from there. No, it is. It's got to be, isn't it? It's got to be live. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. I know there is other things going on in the world where people will be watching tonight. The biggest thing kicking off tonight, but it ain't really affecting us, is it? It's Mexico v South Africa, I believe. So good luck to all the teams that are participating. You know what? I can't even find anything on this phone. Do you know that? It's been wiped. But hey-ho. Welcome to my wonderful co-hosts, Mr. Paranormal Paul and Mr. Psychic Si.
Oh, yeah.
We are live. We're watching on TikTok because I've got Jane that is on TikTok watching. Thank you, Jane, for letting me know. And please hit that like button wherever you are watching. Get the algorithms up. We are got Maz said the football. Yeah. I think Jason is also in the chat. Marianne is in the chat. Lee is in the chat as well, and obviously the lovely Heidi Hansen. Heidi, we have to get you on the show again in a few weeks' time if you want to pop on and have a chat with us. So many questions that I see you pop up on your Facebook over the last couple of weeks about new books and things like that. So it might be worth, if you want to pop on and have a chat with us, Bill, please let us know. Me for England's first match. Me and Jay will be in Turkey for England's first match and Turkey's too. So that's Sunday, I think, Turkey's first match, isn't it?
Another holiday.
Imagine never. Live on all platforms. How are we both doing? I just want to go and check something, guys. So I'm going to let you hold the thoughts just for a minute. Okay?
All right? Go.
Right, so...
How are you doing, Si? How's your week been, mate?
Yeah, all right, mate. Not too bad. Pretty busy.
Apart from the weather.
Yeah, awful. And next week's meant to be going sky high again, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to next week. I've had enough of the rain already.
Awful today. Awful.
Yeah. Well, even yesterday, the thunderstorms. I don't know if you got them yesterday. Jesus.
No, we missed them, but I heard about them. I
Yeah,
knew
yeah,
they were bad. Yeah, but no, been all right, I think. And I think Saturday was pretty good as well. Saturday as
yeah. It
well.
was. Yeah, it was a good evening.
And
It
it's
was
good to
nice
see
be
you
there,
working,
you know.
mate. It's good to see you working rather
Sorry?
than behind. It was good to see you working rather than being behind a camera. On
I
Saturday.
know, it made a change, didn't it?
It did, mate. It did. It actually did. Yeah, it did. Because I watched it back. Because obviously I didn't see your part until I watched that
Right,
back.
yeah.
And I thought, yeah, it was good to see Paul working. That was really good. Really good.
Question there for you.
Yeah, YouTube is
I
working.
still want my old game console as I need space. Oh, do you know what? I completely forgot about that. I'll be honest with you. I can't even remember what console it was now, but yeah, I'll take it off your hands if it works.
There you go. We'll sort that one out. A name from the past.
Hello, Mikey.
Hello, Maggie.
Welcome back to the show. People are asking for your weekly rant, Simon. Can we keep it PC this week?
Sort of, right? I've not actually really got a rant, but it is a rant in a way because the events that happened in Northern Ireland this week, right, I think are truly disgusting. And I think when I read what happened to that person yesterday, or I read it somewhere, and the full-blooded of it was awful. They were trying to be. He was trying to behead him. My rant is, yeah, I agree. All people have got to have somewhere to live. I agree with that. And if it's got to be in our country, I agree with that as well. But we're now telling people not to go mad, not to fight, not to protest. Got to leave it as it is. But what the hell is being done about it? It's just not getting any better. And I do see people's frustrations where they are going to go out in the streets and fight. It's not the right way. I totally disagree with it, and I condone it. But until our government actually do something about it, we're going to look after that person in an English jail for the rest of his life. Great. Where's that go? So, and it's going to carry on and on and on, and it can only get worse.
And I'll jump in quickly there, Si. It is only going to get worse because the government, in my eyes, want us to keep on rioting and making things so they can push even stronger laws against the civilian population. They want 24-hour surveillance. They want this, they want that. And the only way they're going to push it is if everyone goes up in arms and fights back against them. And they go, right, enough's enough. We're going to have to implement this, and this.
But
That's the way I see it.
If that happens, Paul, I think you're going to have a civil war on your hands because then I don't think the government will be able to hold it. The police certainly couldn't hold it now. And we certainly haven't, well, we could say, yeah, all right, we'll get the army in. We ain't got many of them now, have we?
Yeah.
So,
Right, that's enough of ranting.
you asked for it, so I give it to you.
Yeah.
It's not
Try to keep it. Try to keep it non-political, but Simon's had his rant. All right. So it's enough. So, right. All it will say is everything that you've just said, I totally agree with. It is going down a dirty pathway. I don't see where it's going to end. I don't see how it's going to end. Whatever government you are backing, I don't see any government changing this. I think, as Paul said, I think this is what they want. It doesn't matter who is in power. This will just naturally happen. And I think it goes along the lines of the New World Order. One government, one whatever you call it, one world, one New World Order, one religion. And that's what it will be. Right, but we have got a show for you tonight. We are going to be talking about, well, if you do the Googling on it, okay, it is called a phenomena. Okay, it's called the 411 phenomena. Okay, if you haven't sort of looked into this or anything like that, we're going to try and do a little bit of a sort of breakdown as much as we can. We did say we was going to do it this week because we spoke about it. It's called the Missing 411. It could be along of alien abduction. It could be along I think they tried to. There is some form of Sasquatch and Bigfoot related to this as well. And I think it also goes along the lines of what we was talking about a few weeks back as well, with regarding to the missing scientists that went missing and things like that. It has that same feel about it, but it's all based on the study of. You're gonna have to remind me. Was it David Paulides? Am I saying his name?
Paulides.
Paulides. I don't quite know how to say his name, so I do apologise.
I think it's Paulides because that's how he comes on and he introduces himself.
So how we come across this, let me just read some message out before we start. I have 2 books coming out. I'm not allowed to do so beforehand. I'm on full-time sick leave. Hopefully in October. The first one is called Friends from Another World, and another one is from 18 years later, released in December. So when you feel better, Heidi, and when you feel comfortable, give us a message and we'll get you on the show to talk about your books when they come out, okay? And we'll go from there. Back on subject. I'm going to keep going on because your brain is just not with it at this moment in time. But is where we will go is Paul sent me a video and Simon a video probably about a month ago or so regarding Joe Rogan and speaking to this David Paulides. Now, I've watched the video and I've watched the first bit a couple of times. I've probably listened to it and watched the video on YouTube and on Spotify a couple of times, just the first hour. Okay, I've not managed to sort of see the last 20 minutes or listen to the last 20 minutes. I just run out of time. But I just want to start off with the basis of the interview, okay? Because I don't know if you two sensed it as much as I did, but do you feel that Joe Rogan was putting him down a little bit in some of his theories?
I don't think he was putting him down. I think he was trying to get him to open up about it a bit more. I don't think he was putting him down. Some of the stuff they both agreed on, which I found a bit funny because this guy's been doing it yoinked. He's got to be an expert on it.
Yeah. No, I agree, Si. I don't think he was putting him. I've been a bit addicted to Joe Rogan interviews the last sort of month or two. I've been listening to a lot of them. And I think it's just the way he interviews, Russ.
Yeah.
Whether he knows you or don't know you, he will find a way of getting the best out of you for their comeback. Whether that means disagreeing with them, agreeing with them. He's definitely got a way of getting them to
both laughing about things as well.
Yeah, but that's him as well. He's quite I think he's got a great sense of humour, and he's a stand-up comic at the end of the day, isn't he? As well?
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So certain things, him and his sidekick Jamie, I think they do have a little chuckle about it, but it's along the lines of the things that they do. They are fascinated in, and they do believe in to a certain extent.
I just found it at some points through that interview. If I was that David and he said what he said to me, I think I would have got up and walked out, because it was like, yeah, I do. There were certain points I'm thinking, I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying. Like, I do feel like there's some points where he goes and like purposely disagrees with the person he's interviewing to get them to say, well, hang on a minute, if you disagree, I've got this evidence, blah, blah, blah. I get that. I do get that. But
Well, I think that David Politis handled himself pretty well. To be honest, I think he handled himself really well.
And
but then why wouldn't he? Because I went on to actually see how many videos that David Politis has done and how much he's researched it. Ain't just one. I think there's about 18, 19, and I'm thinking, wow.
But he's made a lot of films. If you go on Amazon Prime, his films are on there. The Missing 411 is on Amazon Prime. Yeah. As I said, I totally agree. Now, I found him the first 20 minutes of that interview. I found it like pulling teeth. Okay, I think that David was a pretty closed shop. Okay, and that's where I think your side of things come in. It was pretty much yes, no. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be a hard watch.
But that could have been nerves as well, because you think that's the biggest podcast in the world at the moment. So, you know, if you've made it to that platform, it all relies on what you say, whether that's going to boost or hinder your career.
But if you listen to that interview, he'd done major interviews with George Knapp on his podcast. Now, Joe Rogan is a very rounded conspiracy theorist. George Knapp is right down that, like, he's pinpoint what you're on there for. Now, when it comes to that sort of thing, I'm like, okay, maybe the celebrity status got to him, maybe the show got to him. I get all that. I do get all that. I just found Joe Rogan a little bit self-absorbed, a bit, you know, come on. You ain't got to say what you're saying, or you ain't got to really. There was a part where he was saying about the DNA testing, and no one will touch the DNA. Okay, and he in mid conversation goes, "Hey, Ryan, we'll do it. Why won't they do it? We'll do it. Get a bit of paper, we'll put a bit of blood on it and send it off." And I just thought, you arrogant piece of. Because it was rude, obnoxious. You know?
I didn't see it like that. He's got a lot of influence, and he's done this before. Like, you know, you go, right. So hang on a minute. So you're saying that if we do this and do this and send it to this, we'll get it. Right, Jamie, we'll get this. We'll do this.
But it wasn't.
I think he would definitely do it.
But it wasn't like that. It wasn't like the way you did it. And I get the way you did it. You made it quite, but he didn't. He made it. I thought he was being very, very.
I didn't see it like that at all.
Yeah, I didn't. I agree with Paul. I didn't see it like that. I think it was just like two guys talking, and he's gone. Yeah. Well, hold on. If you can't get it, give it to me. Whatever his name is,
in jest.
Get it. We'll do it. We'll do it.
I just thought he did it in jest. And I didn't like it. It rubbed me up the wrong way, because I do watch Joe Rogan. It is a thing that I do watch.
To be quite honest, though, I think that David Politis could run circles around Joe Rogan. His knowledge. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
100% with you. 100% with you. I just didn't like certain points of it. I really didn't like certain points of it. Like how, you know,
because he was like sort of critiquing what he's saying, like, you talked about when he mentioned the eyewitness seeing the elk just getting lifted up from the middle of the field and things like that, and he'll start sort of having a little chuckle about it, like as if to say, really? Because some of them sort of moments I saw coming through, but to me that's a genuine reaction to anyone that wouldn't have seen that with their own eyes. Because a lot of it sounds like crazy talk to a normal person.
It just sounded like he was trying to put him down all the time. There was another section regarding the hallucinogen or
hallucinogenics,
hallucinogenics regarding the little people. Well, there's a hallucinogenic out there that that makes you see little people.
Yeah, but they've both tried it. They've both tried it. Did you hear that part of it?
Yeah, but
they've both actually tried that. And they've seen little people.
Yeah.
So then that takes, in my eyes, off the little green men off the plate. But
No, but say the way you went into that. See, I thought we was going to touch on that a bit later, but
we are. No, we're not. We won't touch on anything just that minute. We're just broadly starting off the thing with. I thought it was a
I think this is going to be a fun one, Simon.
I thought it was a harsh check on him. And it's what I will do is, because it's a YouTube link, we can place that on our social medias. So we will place that on our thing for people to watch and see what they think after the show. But let's start off with what the interview was generally about. Not if the interview was any good or any cop, but what the general interview was about. And I'll start off with you, Paul. Just give us a summarise of sort of everything, because obviously we know what's gone on, you know, what the interview was about.
Well, I think it mainly started from the, like you say, the 411, the place, I can't remember the name of the place now, the
Yosemite Park,
massive forest sort of wildlife park, quite famous. But so many people have gone missing. And I think it wasn't he was visiting there one day, or he was doing an investigation or something like that. And one of the rangermen turned up at his hotel room and wanted to speak to him about the amount of people that have gone missing. And, you know, saying, we know who you are. Because he was he in the police force? I can't remember now.
Yes.
He was 20 odd years, wasn't he? He was a main investigator or something. Yeah. And they basically said, you know, we think you need to look into this, because the way people are going missing, something doesn't add up. And his partner also joined him in the room, and he said basically the same thing. So he carried on wanting to investigate it. So he asked for the Freedom of Information Act to release the files from some of these people that have been, some of them been missing 40 odd years, I think. So there's no reason really why they shouldn't release some of these files. He explained who he was. You know, he's done Freedom of Information Act released on quite a few cases. He's never had any trouble. But there were certain cases that he was just flat out refused.
Well, the missing people they tried to charge him £1.4 million
for all of the cases. That's right. Yeah.
And he said, "Sod it," didn't he? He said, "I'm going to do it myself." And then 2 years later, they released the files, and that's how he hit it, because
didn't they offer to pay him 1.4 million to do it?
No, that was after, wasn't it? Yeah, no, he did get offered. Because that's how he
offered him money, didn't they? Yeah.
Because he just split up with his wife. With his wife, and he needed the money. And they come to him, and they said, or someone come to him.
No, that was to investigate Bigfoot. That wasn't to investigate the missing people.
No. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. Got you. All right.
Yeah. The missing people, he sort of done all on it off his own back before he's split with his missus, I think.
And I just started to watch that one as well. His actual missing 411.
Yeah, so I'm going to watch them. I haven't seen anything.
Fairly good, Paul. It does actually look fairly good. Speak on.
Yeah. But that sort of, I don't think he'd ever really gone down the ufology, Bigfoot, or any of that kind of route before actually starting to investigate these disappearances, because the way in which people had gone missing without a trace, you know, and they'd have canine units that didn't pick up any scent.
Yeah,
like that the same day they go missing, the canine units go out there, don't pick up any scent. It's like they completely vanished, nothing left behind. And in a few cases, a week or two later, the body would just appear in the exact field that he was investigating. And the canine units never picked up the scent then. They would have easily found this person where they eventually found them. So straight away, that's quite bizarre, you know. And as Joe Rogan rightly said, you know, if someone goes missing in the wild, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to find nothing, because This is the reason why you hardly find any dead animals in the wild, because if you're dead, you get eaten by all sorts of things. There is nothing left. But then, as David rightly said, yeah, but belt buckles,
leather belt,
cameras, tripods, guns, rifles, bows, arrows, that sort of thing ain't going to get eaten. Shoes, the elastic from your underwear, that sort of thing will always stick around, and they didn't find any of them. So it's really kind of bizarre, and that's when he started interviewing people that were close or there, and that's when he started coming up with all these weird and wonderful stories, like the fireman that went skiing in New York, disappeared, showed up 2,500 miles away in California in his ski clothes, and he literally woke up in the person's truck, and he was talking to the person in the truck.
Yeah.
And you're like, I think he was too embarrassed to even say, "What the hell am I doing here? What was we talking about?" He just sort of come to, like, "What the hell?" Don't remember nothing about it. He remembered his phone number, so he phoned his wife, and she's like, "Where the hell are you? We've been looking for you. Like, we got people out here, there, and everywhere." And yeah, very bizarre.
That was a very interesting, I don't know, experience, because the way he actually rung his missus, wasn't it? And she's going, "We've all been looking for you."
Yeah.
How do you take that call? How what I know he was, he's like, because he was talking. Say, you're right, Paul. He was talking to either the truck driver or the bus driver, and he was still in his ski clothes, but he was talking to him like nothing had happened.
Yeah.
And no one knew. Now that is bizarre, isn't it? In my head, that is bizarre.
But through this, right, very much along the line of what Paul is saying, but it led me, as I was watching it, it was leading me to other rabbit holes. Really was leading me down the line of other rabbit holes. And then I've got, like, all the abductions. You get alien abductions, yeah? But if you look, I think the latest one is about 1987. So have aliens got more clever by wiping the memories? That's the way my mind's going. Because you don't hear, that is, right, they take them and they come back with no memory and put them somewhere else.
Yeah, but a lot of them were coming back, they were appearing back dead.
Yeah, yes.
The majority of them were, I mean, some have never been found. Some, very few, come back alive and remember certain bits, like the fella that said he was up in the spaceship, and in a distant planet with a load of elk around him that seemed to freeze at the same time he was taken. He had his rifle. He as he shot, all the elk just froze, and as he shot, the bullet just stopped midair and dropped to the floor. Picked it up, put it in his pocket, and when they examined the bullet, they couldn't work out. It hit something, but they couldn't work out what and what would cause it to deform the way it deformed. But because he had a vasectomy, he reckons that he spoke to these beings that took him, and they said, "You're no good to us." And he believed it was because he had a vasectomy.
But that was his theory, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was. But didn't he also have polio scars or something, some kind of scar from a disease he had as a child? That when he come back, all these scarrings had gone.
I don't know if that. I can't.
Yeah,
I heard of that.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
I don't know if it was the same gentleman. I couldn't tell you if that was the same gentleman in my head.
No.
Just out of interest, I say, trying to work it back in my head, is the ski gentleman who got abducted or whatever happened. Okay, because I don't think he actually claimed abduction, did he? Because did he not? He couldn't tell what went on.
He couldn't remember nothing.
No.
See
He
that?
remember, so he'd obviously had his memory wiped. I would say, to what happened to him.
But you could, that in that case, in that specific case, okay, that it may just be that he got taken by government officials.
Yeah.
There is nothing there to say that we've got an alien abduction in it. And I do want to sort of stress that some of these missing 411 cases are not deemed alien abduction. They just go missing. Just for the benefit of the viewers, they just go missing.
Right. I mean, we're talking about alien abduction. Another thing they did mention was portals being opened up and closed, right? So could it just be that the people that are missing are taken into these portals and the portals are being closed while the people that are missing have gone through the portal?
And that is very, very stereotypical Bigfoot, Sasquatch, however you want to see it, cryptoids. That's a belief, a theory of how Bigfoot, Sasquatches work, because they're seen and then they're not. How can an 8-foot giant woolly mammoth thing be running through the forest, being seen, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, gone? So that portal theory, I can see that. I can see that, and I do want to say is that I'm pretty sure that David Palladi's way of thinking has to be where he's so keen on Bigfoot and Sasquatch and the missing. I'm surely he's got to put it together at some point, which I think he probably has, because I know they were talking about portals within that theory. That I can see that. I can see that because I say I watch a lot of Bigfoot programs. Bigfoot is something to me that I find fascinating beyond fascinating.
And the other theory is that it's humans that have interbred with something, and that's what the Native Americans think, isn't it? The Native Americans actually think it's a human thing that's
a hybrid species.
And still living.
Yeah. Well, I found that part interesting actually when he was talking about the Native Americans when they knew that they were coming, because what did he call it? The hairy moon or the wolf moon?
Yeah, that's it.
There was a certain moon up that they knew that these two Bigfoot creatures were coming. And said, and they traded with them. You know, they gave them food and animals and things like this, and then they gave them something in return. And this had been going on for years, like, you know, through the ancestry of the tribe.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I did like about what Joe Rogan said, because he's always very on the fence with Bigfoot. He's like, no, I don't, because he's an avid hunter. He's always in the very deep mountains hunting. And he said, you know, I would have seen something, or, you know, with the trail cameras, this and that. He said, but with all the different entities and things that are out there, you know, especially with the Native Americans, there's no dragons or this and that. He said, but Bigfoot is always the same story. And it's, in some cases, in certain civilizations, that's the only sort of mythical creature they've got. So how can all these people have sightings and stories of Bigfoot and there not be something to it?
Yeah.
I say I'm a strong avid believer of Bigfoot. I believe that
I believe it is, but I don't believe it, like, because they laughed about the footprints. They sort of dismissed footprints of Bigfoot because, and I agree with that. I don't think it's a creature as we're expecting to see it.
To a certain extent, though, Simon, because he also said there was a certain prints that they took that was so deep that it would have had to have been a hell of a way to go on it. But you could also see like almost like a fingerprint in the impression and all your joints, you know. And you said, how would someone be able to create that?
Yeah,
You know, in completely different areas of the
and
world.
the hair that they can't, you know,
Exactly.
the hair that they.
And the fact that a lot of places completely refuse to do it, to even test it. If you say Bigfoot, they're like, no, not interested. But then that's exactly how David was when then people did approach him about investigating Bigfoot.
Yeah.
He was like, no, not interested, don't want to know. And they basically threw a blank check in front of him. No, not interested.
But he also said which unknowing to me, was about the footprints of Bigfoot. That because they joked, is it? That what do they call it? One in front of the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Side by side, they're one in front of the other.
Just walking the line when you.
That's it. When you're drunk.
When
That's
you're
it.
drunk,
Yeah,
you're
that
walking the
was
line,
the
yeah.
joke. Now I didn't know that until that interview.
Yeah.
And that fascinated me as well. That fascinated me. But yeah, I know they did the Russian DNA as well. With
Yes.
the big skulls, the big skull people. For anybody who wants to sort of delve into that a little bit more, including Paul and Simon, there is a great program on Amazon Prime. I don't know the exact name of it. I'll have to dig it up, but it's a British. You'll know who it is who does the program, and he goes to Russia, and what's the big boxer? Remember the big bald Russian boxer? No. But Valuev. He's now some form of minister or politician in Russia, and he's a strong, avid believer of it. Now, they did a lot of research into it, and they believed they had DNA, and when they did the DNA, it wasn't what they expected it to be. So the Russian link is very, very weak when it comes to these big-headed creatures and things like that. But it was very interesting. I'll try and get you the show to watch regarding it, because it does have strong links into that sort of Russian. I suppose it's a little bit like, is it the Nephilim, big-headed giants and things like that? But if we look at the case of the skier, okay, let's the actual case of the skier. I know that it's very, he just disappeared. Now, what is your gut telling you on that, Paul? What is your gut saying about that?
I don't really know, because I kind of appreciate where he was coming. Every single case he's looking at, he's treating them as an individual case. And although a few of them have similarities, I'm not bunching all these people in the same sort of boat. I don't believe they're, like you said, I don't believe they're all abductions. I think quite a few would be government taking them for whatever reason, depending on the people that went missing. The fact that the government turning up at missing people's houses and taking stuff out of the houses once they'd gone missing, to me, that's completely the other side of abductions. With the skier, I don't know. I don't know if you could say that could have been a mental thing as well. He could have had a complete mental blackout. You don't know. He could have taken, if he was on holiday having fun, he could have taken a drug that had a certain side effect that he'd just go off on one and go out walkabout, not remember a thing about it.
How many miles away was it from where he was found, though?
Sorry?
How many miles? Where he disappeared from to where?
2,500 miles away.
So you'd think, though, that they'd have picked him up on some sort of airport, train, bus station, if he'd actually gone moving about.
He didn't go into specifics with that one. I don't even remember him saying how long he was gone for.
But he did say
if he was gone for
missing
a day or 2 days. If he was out partying or whatever, they were having a jolly up. What if he could have had his passport on him? Well, you can get a bus, a train. I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm just saying.
Okay, look, I'll read you the synopsis of that. I just quickly did a Google search, right? So we know
because they didn't really go into detail on that fella. No, so I don't know that much about it.
There is 3 cases, okay, regarding the 411 phenomena. Okay, so its name's Constanio Danny Philippides, a Toronto firefighter who mysteriously disappeared while skiing at Whiteface Mountain near Lake Placid, New York. After a massive 6-day search, he was found alive in Sacramento, California, over 4,000 kilometers away, with no memory of how he traveled there and was still in his ski gear. We have Stephen QBK, a 24-year-old student who went cross-country skiing alone in the sand dunes near Eastern Shore Lake of Michigan. He disappeared without a trace, only to unexpectedly return 15 months later with no recollection of where he had been. And we have Miles Robinson, a young English skier who vanished in the Swiss Alps. His disappeared sparked an intense search, and his body was ultimately found in a steep, inaccessible area, leading to speculation how he ended up so far off the Groom Trails. Paulides does not explicitly state a single case of these events, but the missing 411 concept often points out a common reoccurring anomalies in these cases, such as extreme weather, a sudden memory loss, or an individual being found miles away from where they were last seen. Mainstream investigators typically attribute wilderness disappearance to extreme elements, disorientation, and underlying medical emergencies. So we have to take sounds like, yes, the Mark is right. We are talking about the missing 411. That's what we're talking about, Mark. There have been few stories like this. I remember reading a book, a soldier teleported to another country while on guard duty. I know this sounds sort of corny, but I think that we have to take in the seriousness of the gentleman's job as a firefighter.
100%.
Yeah.
I think that has to play
a reliable source, don't you?
Yes. Not to say we have to take it for granted, okay? But there is no way that we're talking about someone who's skiing at like minus 10 degrees, ending up in California, which is probably going to be, mid-20s and above, I'm assuming, the sunny state. I don't think we get snow in California. That's just bizarre in itself, and that's where my head goes with this. Does it feel like a government a government trial, because it feels like they've had to take where they've taken him from to where they've dropped him is like a total offset. To me, it's like a total. That's the kicker. That's to me is no one talks about why he went missing, why he went that, but 4,000 miles away. Do you know what I mean? It seems to be that was the main point of it. The kilometres away.
And not only that, the thing with that is, where does the scent go from the dogs? Because they're not waiting days to put dogs in there to find them. They wait, it's hours. So within 3 hours, they've got a scent, and the dogs can't pick up a scent. Where's the scent gone?
See that's
Where's the scent gone?
That's a fascination, that bit.
Yeah, and I think they did mention that Monica Razor, the one that was running. They seem to think that's, and who's to say she won't turn up in 15 months' time? With her friends, who turn round, gone. Yet they called in everybody, never been able to pick a scent up. And these dogs are not stupid. They're not,
Yeah, but he said sometimes as well that the dogs would cower down and they won't even go near the area. Now that wouldn't happen with a sniffer dog. So for a sniffer dog to do that, something ain't right there, mate.
No, definitely not.
The sniffer dogs is very bizarre because I don't even with an abduction, the scent is still going to be somewhere around. It's almost like that person is wiped completely, gone completely, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then returned.
Or not. Then returned or not. Yeah.
Yeah, Cheryl and Cheryl commented on the post about disclosure. We'll touch on that towards the end of the program. But Cheryl's a new listener to the show and comments on our post. So welcome, Cheryl.
Welcome.
Okay, devil's advocate or potential theory, whatever you want to call this. Okay, so the ones that are returned, like the older gentleman in the 411, and he come back and he said he had a vasectomy and this, that, and the other. That's why they didn't want him. Returned. What about the ones that are not returned, as Cheryl has put? Are they the ones that they want? Or are they the ones that they can experiment on and get everything they want from?
Possibly.
Could be.
In my brain.
My brain would be going to the first one that one of his first ones he goes into on the hunted, the missing is Thomas Merrick or Mesick. He was 82 years old. When he out hunting. That's when he was abducted. That's when he was abducted. He was 82 years old. Been hunting all his life. They've had his sons on, and went out hunting. Nothing's found. Not a trace. Not a trace. And these people, if you've been hunting all your life, you know the woods like the back of your hand.
Yeah, you can't say that every single person that went missing has been abducted either.
No, I'm not saying that. But where's he gone?
Oh, 100%. I get what you're saying. There's some really bizarre ones there, but I can't help but think some of them, I reckon, could not easily be explained, but can be explained.
Yeah. Some people would want to go missing. There's going to be a handful.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah, there is that.
There's going to be a handful of them that I suppose want to go missing, and it always seems to be they're alone hunting. They're out there on their own.
So I don't know why this keeps coming into my head, right? when you was talking about the fireman, you know, don't remember nothing, this and that. It's a little bit off topic, but to me, it could resonate with some of the things that happened. The only reason this is coming in my head, I think, right, is skiing. He could have had a fall, he could have banged his head, right? I don't remember anything saying about a canine unit getting put in on this skier, especially up in the mountains. I don't know how you would do that, but many years ago, I was at a party with some friends, and there was a bit of a kerfuffle, bit of a fight, and one of my friends got quite a hard hit on the head. He was out cold. So woke up in the night, didn't know what he was doing. Anyway, it was quite a bad injury. He went to hospital, spent just over a month in hospital. Took him a while to get himself together and get his speech a bit better. When he sort of come out, he was on the mend, you know, taking his tablets, doing this. And we were sitting there one day having a chat. And he says, I don't really remember anything about it. But one thing I do remember, he said, I remember being in a hospital. Didn't feel like a hospital to me. He said, but people were coming after me and they were trying to get me. He said, I remember intensely writing down and planning my escape from this place. Like to the point of as if he was like an agent. He was so in depth with his planning on escaping the hospital, which he didn't believe was a hospital at the time. Now, it's only the fact that when you hear some of these stories that people do, I don't remember nothing, but I remember being taken, and I remember how do I get out of here? How do I get out of there? I'm not saying that this is what happened. I'm just saying that what's to say that at least one of these couldn't have been explained in that way. 6 days. It doesn't take much of a head injury to completely knock you out. You can still be walking about and functional,
But you'd be seen though, wouldn't you?
Well,
if you've got to get 4,000 miles away, or you end up getting 4,000 miles away, you're going to be if they've done an extensive search, which it did say it did extensive search, Russ.
but again, what is an extensive search? Because like they were saying in the beginning, you know, how much of this is coming down to incompetence? Why is it they don't want you to check out this, that, and that? Because are you going to pull out the authorities for not doing a good enough job? How many times do you hear more of that than you do anything else? I'm just sort of devil's advocate. Just trying to throw out a few other.
No, totally agree.
I'm just going to throw some. I say while you're talking, Paul, I've just clicked on a link. Okay, and it you know the missing of this skier. Okay, so there's some missing facts that certain individuals haven't let go. Okay, or we don't know of and there's quite a few of these same facts. Okay, I'm just going to read you a couple. Okay,
Go.
one of the comments is this guy is a total fake. Some facts that we know and been proven. He was carrying $10,000 in cash, but no ID. He brought a cell phone at some point during his journey. The theory is the guy intended on disappearing, but for whatever reason changed his mind. I'm guessing after he realised the search for him become national news, he would be recognised. Now, that's exactly the theory that Simon said. People want to disappear.
Yeah.
Now, okay, devil's advocate again. Okay, what's to say that if this was a government abduction, that they're going to make it look a little bit sus? So stick a 10 grand in his pocket, stick a mobile phone in his pocket. So when he comes to, he's going to have money to do something, and he's going to have a mobile phone to communicate with someone. Wherever they dump him or they stick him in a forest, he has communication. So when them comments come out, I'm not going to say, look, that sounds fishy to me. Okay, a little bit sus. But I also look on the conspiracy side of things, as sometimes this show is a conspiracy based show, is that they're going to do whoever may have took this person wants to make it look legit, wants to make it look fishy. So stick money in his pocket and stick that in it. So it's going to make him look a little bit odd, isn't it? You know, of course they're going to remove his ID. Do you know what I mean? There's everything there that just I'll sort of look at
You just end up with more questions than answers.
yeah.
You do, and as you're sort of listening to it, your mind's going to, well, what if this was going to happen? What if that was going to happen?
Yeah.
And I mean, I got to the point where I try that bloody plant that they use.
I'd
Because
be,
I
all
would
over,
want to see that for myself.
I'd be all over that.
Yeah, I want to see what it would do to me.
Yeah.
But then, you know, that would go along the sign of, you know, what's to say that isn't, you know, devil's advocate and sort of putting theories out there. What's to say that isn't a natural thing that, you know, our body reproduces when we go into that frame of mind? You know, is it, you know, like, you know, when you get the adrenaline pump, what is the actual official status of that adrenaline pump that comes around your body? What does that, you know, they say pheromones and things like that. What is that hallucinogen? Maybe that hallucinogen is already in our body. So
the DMT is your brain produces it.
Yeah.
But obviously not as controlled as much as what it does when you start hallucinating. This is why he's saying, are these things? Do you remember that when it wasn't so long ago when I was saying about, you know, back in my younger days, I used to experiment with certain bits and pieces, and this certain thing that we done, we was telepathic. Do you remember me saying about that?
yes, yeah.
What if these things just open up that part of your brain that makes so you can, you know, we see what 2% of the light spectrum. What if something in that brain just, if you've got enough of that certain chemical in it, opens up that other bit, so you're seeing things that no one else can see. But if someone else is on the same thing, they're seeing exactly the same thing as you. What's the chances of that?
But he spoke about telekinesis, didn't he? He spoke at some point. He spoke about telekinesis, telepathic.
I don't remember it.
There was a bit in there. There was a bit in there about telekinesis. If you was on one side of the world and you was on another side of the world, you know, say if you was in Australia, I was in America, that we could tell you forgot something, you could send that, like telekinesis.
Oh, right, yeah. So, yeah, he was talking more about the quantum, what do you call it, quantum field sort of thing, you know what I mean? Going along the lines of, like, your parallel dimensions and portals and wormholes and things like that, wasn't it?
Mark Anderson Marcus put, some of the reports from the DMT realms are super interesting. A great book is Death by Astonishment. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
So, but that's what I'm saying is, like, you know, not to say that what we do is anything else, but what's to say that when we do go into that, you know, the adrenaline, we've all been in that situation where we're on a ghost hunt or we're in the middle of a forest, you know, looking for that bit of extraterrestrial activity. All of a sudden it starts to happen. What, you know, you start to see things, you start to sense things, you start to feel that outside interference coming. Now, that to me is that drug that is being put into my brain. Now, whatever way you look upon it, is it you're seeing it or is it you're imagining it? Who knows? No one's ever going to be able to prove that fact because you just don't know. You know, this is why the paranormal is the paranormal, because we can't prove it either way. But it's either this DMT hallucinogen that our brain is potentially creating, and if some people are choosing to take it, in some way, shape, or form. What's to say that what we are seeing or what they are seeing isn't real? But then what's to say that what we're seeing is just the drug and the hallucinogen in our brain? Does that make sense of what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. If these people are seeing the same things when they're taking this,
That's just what I was going to say.
that to me is a little bit different. That's what I'm saying. If we all took this DM of this, whatever it is, it's got a funny name, but if we all took it and we all started to see these little people, all of us, then there's got to be something in that, hasn't there?
Yeah, that's not so much the DMT that makes you see little people. That was the other mushroom, wasn't it? I can't remember the name of the mushroom.
Oh, it's like ayahuasca or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the DMT, there's another thing they do in America. It's like a health ranch, and you go there, you go through the experience. You have someone with you the whole time, because apparently sometimes when you come out of it, you are sick. But everyone who comes back out of it says you'll never look at life the same again, because where you go, and everyone says the same thing, it's as if real life is not as crystal clear. That this place you go to is so real, it's like 100 times more real than real life. You know, you're seeing everything that's alive, you know, and when you come back into reality, you're like, this doesn't feel as real as where I just was. And everyone experiences the same thing, and they say it just changes their life forever. For the better, a more positive sort of thing, you know.
But I can see that. I you know,
it's the same as what the native Indians do, you know, when they drink their funny juice. It's that kind of thing. They go on that spiritual journey.
But is it an hallucinogen? Is it an hallucinogen? And I say that is in
no.
We are putting it to a drug that, you know, everyone is calling hallucinogen. What's to say it isn't an hallucinogen? What is it to say if it is something that is just lowering the vibration, changing the frequency in our brain? And that's not hallucinating, because hallucinating is virtually telling us that what you're seeing isn't real. You're hallucinating. When you get a high fever, you hallucinate.
Well, they're saying it's a psychoactive brew. So they're not saying it's hallucinating.
I think you're getting your drugs mixed up, because the mushrooms that make you see little people, they're classing that as an hallucinogenic. This, I can't remember what they call it, which gives you the extra DMT. That's not classed as an hallucinogen.
Yeah.
That's classed more of like your out of body experience.
Yeah, but
you're kind of
psychoactive.
Yeah.
So, but that's what I'm saying with the mushroom. Let's call it the mushroom. What's to say? Once again, they're calling it an hallucinogenic. Now, if these people are all taking this hallucinogenic and seeing the little green men, right, or the little people, that is suggesting to me that isn't an hallucinogenic.
No, it's opening up a doorway for you to see something that's actually there that other people can't.
Now, if you are taking mushrooms that make you see a statue wave at you, or you see things that, you know, where you're leaning backwards, I get all that. That's different. That does feel like it's an hallucinogenic, because everyone's reacting differently.
Yes, and people have different experiences.
Yeah, but this one with the mushrooms, where the little people are being seen, what are they seeing? You know, that has to be, unless they're seeing people in front of them smaller, right? You know, like say if you did it in a group of 10 people, one person done it and it just shrunk everybody. I don't know what the terms of how they did it. I don't know. Okay. That's weird in itself. But if you're going, say if 10 people did it, and then within that 10 people, you've seen another 30 people, but tiny, then that's opening up a can of worms. That's opening up something that I generally feel that we're not supposed to be seeing.
Mm.
And then that's where maybe your little green men that's there on my screen for people and there that we see in the videos, in the history, maybe that's what we're seeing. Maybe it doesn't necessarily just have to be this mushroom that produces it. Maybe there is something natural out there that produces it. Maybe these little green men that we see spray something as they land. Maybe these little green men have coated their crafts or whatever in it. So when they do come to land or you see them, maybe that's what they're producing. Maybe it's a drug that they're producing. Maybe it's come from their homelands and planted it on our earth for us to be able to communicate with these little things. Because I haven't heard of anything to say that they've been aggressive. I haven't heard anything to say that they've attacked anybody. They all seem to be quite peaceful little individuals.
Yeah, just freak people out. That's all, because they don't know what they're seeing.
Exactly that. But then, if you're taking a mushroom, you are going into that headspace of that you're taking a drug.
Well, no, because this was I think it was in China somewhere, and it's a couple of months a year the hospitals prepare themselves because they use this certain mushroom in a certain traditional dish that's served in these 2 months. And they give out a warning that if you don't cook it correctly, if you don't cook it enough, then whatever's in this mushroom will give off this hallucinogenic effect. So not everyone, but some people are eating it thinking, oh, it's a traditional dish, and then whacking it down their throat. If their mushrooms ain't been cooked properly, they're going in hospital saying, like, you know, I've got 100 little men chasing me here. And that's what happens. Now, don't get me wrong, you're going to get people out there that know exactly what they're doing.
Let's be fair, without sounding wrong, if you do that in China, they're not exactly the tallest of people, are they? So, let's be fair, okay? Let's be fair. I'm not being heightist, okay? I'm not being heightist to anybody, but they're not very tall. So, you know, maybe they haven't paid their bill and getting chased down the road by the owners of the restaurant that they ain't paid their bill at, you know.
And there was one part of it where the woman had been found at the bottom of somewhere. I didn't understand that bit.
Well, yeah. So they said that she'd been launched.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. So basically, where the cliff was or whatever, so that it was like she was placed as if she fell off the cliff. Now, when they worked out how far away she was from the cliff, said even if she run and jumped, she never would have made it as far as she did. And that's when Joe said, like, what about winds? You know, if a gusty winds caught her, would that have? No, she was that far away. It was almost as if she was launched off the cliff.
Yeah, that's it.
So it's almost as if they're trying to place them back around about the places they were taken, but in certain instances they're not thinking like, oh, well, if we put her there, they're going to think that she was launched rather than she jumped.
Yeah,
because you know, from wherever they're getting brought back from, you know, however many light years away it is, if that's where they are, they, you know, 50 foot ain't going to make much of a difference to them, is it?
No.
No, I must. I didn't hear that bit.
And I thought that's one bit that puzzled me.
Hmm.
But it is very interesting, and it isn't. To be fair, it isn't necessarily abduction as we know it, is it?
No.
It's not abduction as in the mainstream abduction line here. We're not going to, we're not going down the Pascagoula case or the Travis Walton case or anything like that.
Betty and Barney, is it?
Yeah, I think we're at the opposite end of the scales here, because the 411 scenario.
Why don't we hear of abductions like that anymore? That's what I'm trying. That's where this threw me. Why don't we hear of those sort of abductions? You look for one of those sort of abductions, like the Travis or the Betty and Barney or the Pascagoula, whatever it was. There used to be loads of them between like early 50s and late 50s, and I'd say early 80s was the last ones I'd seen. But that's not happening anymore. Why? That's really throwing me there as well.
I think
Perhaps
that's a
they've got
really good
everything they
point.
need.
I think that is a really good point.
Perhaps they've got everything they need if they've been doing it that long. Depending on what they want out of us. But, you know, everything's sort of lining up to Disclosure Day. You know, they're being announced that how many, even on the mainstream American news, they're saying that the 4 different alien species that they're in contact with, they're openly admitting they're in contact with 4 different species of alien.
Wow.
And, you know, you've got your, like you say, Disclosure Day coming out. It's what if they don't need to do that anymore?
Mark has put in there, Jim Segala, who worked at Skinwalker Ranch, has done some great research on abduction. He believes there is some form of electromagnetic anomalies happening when people claim to be abducted.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point, Simon. I know, you know, Paul, you know, you've just sort of said like maybe they've ticked all their boxes and don't need us anymore. Okay. But these aliens have been here, they predate us.
Yeah.
You know, I think we can go back enough to say for us in time that probably aliens were around when the pyramids were due. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
There's certain things that the pyramids were built, that there is some form of alien technology there to help us. So probably back then we've got what I feel is probably the earliest interaction with extraterrestrial. I go on a bit of a more of a cynical route to that. I still do think abduction happens, and I do think that the case is real, but I generally feel that we are too commercial now. Now, I'm not saying abduction is. I've never been one with strong belief of abduction. I don't think abduction happens like they tell us it happens. You know, I don't feel like something grabs you, takes you through, you know, this up by a beam and all that. I'm sorry, it's all, everyone says the same thing. I just think it's one story that repeats and repeats. We did an interview a couple of years ago with, I can't think if it was Philip or Ronnie Kinsella, and he spoke about his abduction to us. And he explained it. He felt himself being lifted up from his body through the walls and through the ceilings. Now, that makes more sense to me, as if it's not a human, it's not this that's being abducted, it's more your soul and your energy and your spirit that is being taken up into the craft. How that works, I don't know. It's abduction, okay? But I go down a more cynical route here. Why don't we get them anymore? I do generally believe this is one reason why they don't do it anymore. Because it would be a lot of people can record things and they would be caught out.
Yeah.
I'm cynical because I only go that way for the sheer fact is I'm not a strong believer in alien abduction. I don't quite feel it happens the way that they think it happens in my head. And you know, God, you know, I'm not putting anyone down who has.
No, you do have a fair point on that. That could be a fair point. That really could, because it would be recording now, wouldn't it? And
But
they weren't about when that probably goes when this come into play. when this come into play, the mobile phone, it seems to have stopped.
Well, the Pascagoula case was 73. Betty and Barney was before that, wasn't it?
There was one.
Yeah,
There was one in 85. I think the last one I managed to find was 85, and that was Whitley Strieber. Yeah, 1985.
Travis Walton was 70.
These people that claim to have been abducted, because you're talking about these missing people, they don't come back alive.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
So you're talking about the sort of waking up in your bed abduction.
Been somewhere, been on a journey with them.
The stereotypical abduction.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I think. I think we can split the missing 411 to whatever you want to call it. It doesn't necessarily feel like there is any terrestrial being involved unless you start to put the Bigfoot narrative in there. If you start shooing that Bigfoot narrative in there with the portals, how they disappear quickly and come back quickly, then we're looking at a species. I generally feel Bigfoot isn't a species of extraterrestrial anyway, and then we can slightly link that in there. But when we come to alien abduction, like Betty, Travis, Pascagoula, and things like that, Sorry, go, Simon.
I think that David Polides does another one, which I haven't looked at yet, that mentions UFOs being involved in abductions. So that might be the next one I watch, rather than what I start to watch today. I might leave and watch the UFO.
Does David Polides give? Because obviously I've missed the last 20 minutes. Does he give any explanation of what goes on? Does he give any explanation of what he thinks has caused all this to go on?
I don't believe so. No.
Because I think that's what are your thoughts? What do you believe?
Yeah.
And he kind of like, I can't say. I can't say for sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is why, he's not really grouping all of these things into the same thing. He's treating every case as individual cases. But
yeah, I think he does.
I'd say 60% of them is completely unexplained. There are some who I should imagine that he does think, okay, well, that could have happened.
Yeah.
Unusual weather patterns, yes.
Yeah, I get that, unusual weather patterns. But I think probably what we're going to have to do is watch one of his actual videos on YouTube.
Well, I'm going to nominate myself to watch the Bigfoot ones.
Well, I watch the UFO one. I'm quite happy to do that.
Paul, the rest's on you. So
yeah, 20 of them, Paul. So you got a lot more shit to do, mate.
But yeah, I genuinely thought at the start of the conversation, and then when I watched it, and I have sort of misinterpreted the missing 411 in generalization of I put it to an alien abduction or that sort of feat, but I generally can't fit the 411 after talking and discussing it with you guys, that I don't, unless we shoehorn the Bigfoot into it, that's the only link that I can make to alien abduction here in my head.
Yeah, at the moment, yeah. Until I've seen more of it.
But then it does go down that line of, all these national parks in the States are vast areas.
Yes.
Vast areas of land that may have not been discovered. They may discover things in it. There could be landing platforms. There could be energies in there.
Portals.
You just reminded me though, mate. It was a program or something I was watching, and they were talking about the national parks in America. And I don't know, this might have even been the same person that I've seen a clip of, but in one of his films. But they were also, but no, he would have mentioned it on the interview. They were also talking about underground tunnels in these national parks that seem to link up with the people that disappear.
That's interesting.
There's literally a network of underground tunnels under these national parks, apparently.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well,
That'd be massive.
I would try and find that.
But no, I think, look, we can never ever conclude anything. The only thing that I will conclude is that yes, something strange is happening. What that strange occurrence is, I will put myself on record and say I do not think it's extraterrestrial. I think we're either talking about some government stuff here, or as Simon put it, just simple people just trying to disappear.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I think, to me, I think some of them are abductions.
Yeah, I don't think it. Yeah,
the ones that go missing and come back dead 2 weeks later in the same spot, and there's no. Yeah. Or people that disappear and then they come out of the woods and they've been there for a week and they're not dehydrated, they're not hungry, they're still in pristine clothes. I don't. Something. Where the hell have you been?
Yeah. How did you get there?
How'd you get back?
We had one in this country, didn't we? That was. There has been one in this country where the body was found on top of the coal, and he was untouched. There was no coal on him. He'd been stripped naked.
Place there. Yeah, no, that does ring a bell. I do remember saying that.
I think it's Yorkshire or somewhere, but went missing, and then appeared on the top of a coal pile, and there was no way you'd have got him up there without getting him dirty. It was like he was dropped on top of it. So I think there is something to it, but what it is, I don't know.
That was 1980. The death of, I can't say the bloke's name. Zugamite Adamzanskis.
Adamzanskis, yeah, he was Polish, I think, something like that.
Vanished from his home in Tigley. 5 days later, his body was discovered on top of a 10-foot high coal pile in Todmorden. The circumstances of his death baffles authorities. He'd been missing for a week, but was clean shaven. His clothes were fastened incorrectly, and his hair appeared to be hastily shorn. He had strange burn marks on his back of his neck and his head, as well as an unknown green admitted that the scientists and toxicologists could not identify. A green ointment, sorry. There was no signs of struggle, and no tracks in the coal indicated how the body to the top of the pile. The coroner's record an open verdict, stating that it is one of the most puzzling cases of the 25-year career.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, that is bizarre.
All right.
Very bizarre.
So that's just reading. That's just reading a little bit off the top of the.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
But I think that that was fast. I think probably in a couple of weeks' time that we could probably do a show on abduction, to be fair, just discuss some well-known abduction cases. I think as we've done this sort of thing, I think that should be something in the next couple of weeks we do. I think obviously we should touch on the film of Disclosure that has come out.
No, I was going to ask you that. Was it?
It's only out in the cinemas, though, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, it is. But yeah, hopefully that we'll be able to do. I've heard very mixed reviews of it.
I've got to watch it.
Wonder if Joe's seen it.
Yeah, Joe see it. Did Joe see it last night, opening night?
And
Joe, oh, I can't find my phone. Joe. Let's see what he said of the matter. Diddly do.
probably get a very honest opinion.
Let me go there and there. Oh, really? 3 minutes, 2 hours. Disclosure Day, good film. Wasn't sure what to expect, but I guess now I expect full disclosure. Laugh out loud. In our dreams. Colin Firth was a really good baddie. That's all that he did. I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about it. So I say once we've all seen it, I think we could probably do a little talk on it as well. So I think it's time, isn't it, gents?
That's cool.
Yeah, pretty much.
Thanks for a great show. Thank you for tuning in, Heidi. Thank you, Cheryl, for joining in. It was very interesting. It makes you think a lot. Hopefully, those who don't believe in it all. There's always going to be them people, Cheryl. There's always going to be them people. But without them people, this show wouldn't exist because we don't have things
We
to
agree with each other. Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you to Mark. Huh?
I said, there's no fun in that if everyone just agrees with each other.
No, of course there isn't. Thank you for Mark, who joined us. Thank you for Mikey. Thank you for J Maz, Steve. Also Lee, everybody in the chat. Thank you for everybody. Jay, everybody that has joined in tonight, everyone over on TikTok as well. Really appreciate everything that has happened. I can hope you all tune in. Thank you for watching, and I hope you can all tune in next week. Take care, guys. Stay safe, and we'll see you all next week.
See you later. Good night.